Hi, and welcome back to the Unmotivated Masses video. This is my second video, and if you watched the first one, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. And this video is going to be along the same lines, things that I see, the way I see the world, and the way I see the world work. And this one, I'm going to be talking about personal finance and national debt as well, and talking about how we are a debt society. We use debt to for everything. We use it to buy a pack of gum. We use it to buy a house. We use it to buy a car, multiple cars, and how we use debt and how we fall into the trap of getting stuck into debt and by many means that we do. And I'm not saying that I don't fall into this trap as well. I've used my credit cards to purchase a $1.50 soda and pay interest on a $1.50 soda is kind of stupid, but I've done it. I've taken the oh well I'll pay for it later mentality, which I think a lot of people do for instant gratification because it's easier. And like I alluded in my last video, that easy is what we're all about as a society right now. Easy, quick, instant gratification. Now I wanted to get into some numbers that I was able to pull up for this video regarding debt in general. The first stat that I'm going to mention is I linked it to Wikipedia. I searched for national debt, and they had something that was from the U.S. Government Accountability website. It was linked to the Wikipedia page, and it said that as of April 20th, 2012, the gross debt was $15.614 trillion in the United States. So over $15.5 trillion of debt in this country. This is debt that we get by printing money that we don't offset. This is by spending money that we don't have, by borrowing from foreign nations like China to pay for everything. It goes from paying from national defense to earmarks for particular districts that our Congress people like to bring money back to their district and create programs. But what it does is it causes massive amounts of debt because we don't have the revenue to offset this spending. This is a big problem that I think we face in this country, is that we spend too much, and it starts with our national leaders. They don't feel the reason that they need to stay on a budget because they can print money or borrow money. Any person knows that, and any business knows that if you're spending way more than you're taking in with revenue, your business is not gonna survive. But the difference with the federal government and a person or a business is they can print their own money and then they can borrow unlimitlessly. Even if they have a downgrade of their credit rating, which happened to the United States over last summer by one institution, they still have limitless amounts of debt borrowing ability because people don't believe that the United States would ever default on its obligations. But that's where we start. And the website, the National Debt Clock, and all these websites will be linked in the description, so you can take a look at the information for yourself. Each individual citizen has about 50,000 of that debt is attributed to them. So if you break down the amount of people in the United States compared to the national debt, it's about $50,000 per person. That's a lot of debt. That's saying that everybody in the United States would have to contribute $50,000 to pay off the national debt that we have, which is astronomical, and I don't think it's anything that we can fix in a short term. We're going to have to make tough decisions. Now, I would believe that the majority of people in America believe that we cannot spend beyond our means because they see it in their own personal lives. They can't spend beyond their means. They have to live within their means. And they agree that we need to cut spending. Now, whether or not we raise taxes, that's a different issue. And if we increase revenue while reducing spending, it's a different issue and not a topic for this video today. But people believe that we need to cut services, but they can't agree on what. For example, the elderly want us to cut services, don't want us to cut services, or Medicare and Social Security, because that directly affects them, and they can't they don't want to be personally impacted, and which is understandable. And then you have people that want us to continue funding areas like Planned Parenthood because it provides contraception and other family planning services that they indicate that people can't afford without government subsidies. We have things like NPR that provides radio and television services. Well, radio, I guess. I don't believe it's PBS is the TV side of it. That provides television and radio, like I said. But people I don't know if they always see the value in it, and I think that's a big issue. If an individual person cannot see where their tax dollars are going, they get weary about where that money is going. They know what affects them, and they don't want anything to change that affects them, but they want to cut everybody else's because it's not directly affecting them. What I think we need to do is we need to cut everything across the board, from defense to national programs to everything. We need to reduce the amount that we're spending, and it's going to be a tough argument tough discussion to have, but it's something that we definitely need to do. Now, to bring it down to a little bit more personal level, household debt in the United States is $13.3 trillion. And that was indicated in a Wall Street Journal article by Justin Lahart and Joe Light. They indicated that. And they indicated it had fallen recently, but it's still at $13.3 trillion. And the reason is, for the reasons that I mentioned before, that people spend beyond their means. They buy houses they can't afford. They buy cars they can't afford. They go on expensive vacations they can't afford. In 2008, a big issue was banks were giving loans to people that couldn't afford it. They would have limited income. They would have no collateral. But this is the things that banks didn't follow up on. They didn't investigate this. So people would buy these massive houses at very low interest rates because they would have what was called an adjustable rate mortgage, or ARM mortgage. What would happen is it would start off at a low level and then balloon up as economic factors changed, and the interest became so high that people couldn't afford to pay the interest on these houses. And this is one of the reasons why the housing crisis happened, that people could not afford the houses that they were in. And as you very well know, well, I hope you know, is a lot of foreclosures are happening because people can't afford to stay in these houses because their houses are worth less than the debt that they owe on them. Because again, they got into the instant gratification, big house now, I'll pay for it at a later date and time. I won't have to worry about it. Hopefully I'll have that money during that time. But that's not what happened. People fell into the trap of, they bought the big house, but to the term keeping up with the Joneses, they had to go out and buy the big car. They had to buy the big screen TV. They had to buy the expensive boat and go on the great vacation because they keep having to spend and spend and spend. Now, what that did is, that's great for the economy in terms of putting people to work and being able to say the economy is based on people buying things, especially luxury items, and even non-luxury items, but people went in further and further debt. The problem is, it created such a massive amount of debt for all these people that now they have nothing to save to. Their money, instead of being put away for retirement or to buy a house, a better house than that they're in, or maybe help a kid go through to college and not incur massive student loans, it's being paid to the credit card companies and the mortgage companies, because people do not have personal responsibility. They are acting on what feels good at the time, and they're not putting in the time and the effort to invest in things that are able to grow and not be massive amounts of debt. Interest, my father has told me this, interest is, you're getting nothing. You're paying for nothing. The only thing you're paying for is getting a satisfaction of getting it now. Interest is being paid. That's the only reason it's being paid for. We're getting something now and paying way more than it's worth in the long run. And that's something that I think we need to change the mentality of in our country. And maybe if we change it on a personal level, we look more to personal finance, our elected officials will also look towards it too. They understand that the average working person can't afford to spend money that they don't have, and hopefully it'll percolate up to the congressional level, and they'll pass budgets that don't overspend and continue us in a great march towards ruination due to debt. So hopefully that will happen. Now, that's just a few of my spotlights on this. I actually might do a second video about this because I did have some more things to get to, but I don't want to do this over 10 minutes because I think it's a lot to digest in that amount of time. So please comment on the video. Click like if you do, in fact, like it. Leave comments, even if they're horrible comments. I will try to respond to them. I appreciate you watching my video, and I think this might become a regular Thursday thing. So keep a lookout for my Thursday videos. Again, this is the Unmotivated Vasses, and you've just watched my video. Thank you, and have a great day.